This Saturday, come on down to Nippert Stadium, folks. The Cincinnati area will see a clash of titans between Pudge the Cat and the real Bearcats. This Saturday. Watch as former college football legend Eddie George takes on Scott Hatterfield in the Cincinnati Bearcats in a matchup that will sure to be clash the Ohio opponents for centuries to come. That's this Saturday at 3:30 at historic Memorial Nippert Stadium in Clifton.
Welcome back to Viva La Cats. Thank you, Steve, for the absolutely wonderful intro. As those of you know, we are playing Bowling Green this week, or now
The
known
Falcons.
as not the Falcons. It's the Fightin Pudge the Cats.
It's
the Fightin Pudgies. Yeah, it's the Fightin Pudgies. But anyways, all that said, welcome back to another episode of Viva La Cats. This is week 2 of the football season. After week 1 officially complete Monday night, technically, from Labor Day weekend. I am Justin Hiles, accompanied by my great friend Steve, who have already introduced himself. And we bring you the best of the Bearcats every single week. So keep on rocking with us as we get through today's episode. We're going to go through the Nebraska game and then highlight some things for the Bowling Green game, some things that we've noticed the past few seasons and things going forward, some things we'd like to see, hopefully, kind of rebound and maybe get us back on track for the Bearcats. And then we're going to do a little bit of the Big 12 head-to-head in the back half, just recap some of the things that happened in week 1, some of the fun stuff there, and things to come. So with all that said, we are also a 1012 network show, so make sure to check out our 1012 overheads at Twitter. You can find that at 1012 network. Those guys are great. They cover pretty much everything from any sport you can imagine, whether that be wrestling, softball, baseball, football, basketball. They've got it all. So just keep on checking it out over there, and all of the amazing podcasts that are within the Big 12 are represented with the 1012.
They've got it all, brother.
They've got it all. It's all there, brother. So now that we've had all the fun, let's just really quick kill the vibe by talking about the Nebraska game. Just completely spin it on its head. Yeah, this game was definitely interesting. I'll give it that much. And I don't want to sound overly critical, but I'm going to start this way and then we'll talk about it. It's the Satterfield special. Like you're like one play away from winning this game. The thing is in your grasp. It could be in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth. Doesn't matter. You are one play away from winning this game, and then you still find a way to lose it. It's the big time game. It's the one thing that we just seem to not have been able to do under Scott Satterfield yet. And it's unfortunately more of the same, but let's get into it. Steve, what were your initial reactions coming out of the Nebraska game? Again, it's a 2017 loss. You lose by a field goal, not to a game-winning field goal, but by 3. How did you feel, at least coming out of that, like immediate reaction?
Okay, so Justin, I at least told our group me, beforehand, and then I at least had messaged on this podcast beforehand that I was going to be fine with any result that was not a complete blowout shambles. And let me tell you, brother, I was not. I indeed did I told all you listeners that I was not going to let one football game of 3.5 hours determine my mood, but it did, at least for the next, until the end of the night, And in hindsight, I was able to review some metrics over the weekend and today, since the football games were played until Monday night, week metrics didn't come out until Tuesday morning, yesterday, as you're listening. And so the SB Plus came out, Kelly Ford's K Ford ratings came out. And those are the two I kind of pay attention to most. And they were actually pretty positive on the Bearcats and down on Nebraska after the conclusion of that game. And I want to talk about that later, but just in the moment, Justin, I think we need to talk about a couple of aspects of the game that, really were a little bit frustrating, and just that we should, just kind of wonder aloud about. So obviously, it was talked about pretty heavily about Cincinnati's struggles in the passing game, only 69 total yards not the nicest total you want of passing within the game. It did seem like Nebraska was able to kind of take away a lot, but there was also a little bit of play calling in that mix too, as to where we weren't really trying to air it out too much, which is interesting because I felt like we would have had a little bit more trust of the offense under Brendan Sorsby as he progresses. Maybe just the throws weren't there. He was only attempted 25 passes, completed 13 of them, average yards per attempt of 2.8. Just not going to get it done. It did seem like there was a little bit of sloppiness within that area. And for the bad, I'll call out the good, Justin. 202 total rushing yards on 30 attempts, rushing that rock for a total of 6.7 yards. And, to take another game from the weekend into context for this weekend. So Nebraska's former defensive coordinator is Tony White, who left to take on the Florida State job. And you see how well their defense played against Alabama in that upset. And, compared to Nebraska, Nebraska's defense did not play as well in this game. UC got both of their touchdowns on the ground in this game as well. And the other thing, too, is that I did feel like even though there was 30 attempts and, 25 passing attempts, 30 rushing attempts, I still felt like there was a portion of the middle of the game there where they did not really rush the ball that much. Cincinnati did.
Yeah.
And, credit to our guys, man. Like I want to pull them up real quick, but, Tawi Walker only had like 53 yards, but it felt like he could have got more. And then Sorsby had a total of 96, and that's not sack adjusted either. So, I don't think he got sacked. No, I'm sorry, no sacks. So credit to the offensive line, no sacks. That's great. Like that's a big key right there. And then, Cyrus Allen did have 41 yards on 5 receptions. Joe Royer had 3 receptions, but out of all of the other, there was only 3 other receptions, 1 each for 3 different wide receivers. So if you were hoping for a little bit more on that end, you did not get what you wanted in this game, unfortunately. So I definitely think there is some to build on. But, overall, Justin, before we get to defense, I felt like the offense, obviously, fans are going to complain about that, number one, because I feel like fans are able to understand offense maybe a little bit more than defense, if that's fair. But
yeah,
I'm just going to hit Sat with a run the damn ball, man. They 6.7 yards a pop post game. Like you looking back at that, like, man, we should have just tried to control the line of scrimmage because Nebraska held the ball for 40 minutes. What if that was flipped, Justin? What if we had continued to do that?
Yeah. No, and that's a great point too. Like I think the mention on specifically the balance that you talked about, like, it is huge in this game because it really, I think, kept us in it. And it's kind of funny because both sides of the offensive ball, whether it be rushing or through the air, kind of ended up having this sort of egregious errors that at the end of the game cost you. But the run game did seem really effective here. And I feel like in crunch time, we shied away from it when maybe we shouldn't have. And it just seems like it's one of those things where, again, sometimes I feel like Scott's scheme can kind of bite itself in the ass a little bit, where it's like you're always having this pretty balanced attack. But I feel like, again, we moved away from it at the wrong times. And overall, like, they seemed like they were in a really good position to win this game in multiple different points. But it just comes down to, I think, a few things, which A is you got to take the training wheels off. Like, I mean, I get it. It's game 1. You're on the road. You're in a packed, noisy Arrowhead. I get that Nebraska's got good corners, but it seemed like of the passes that we had, there really was not a lot of attempts downfield. There was really not a lot of targets for like Royer. I think on this game, he had 3 total receptions. I got to see, I'd have to pull it up to see his exact amount of targets, but for somebody who we're talking about as a NFL level talent, somebody who's going to get drafted, like he was a core piece that we brought back. You have to use him. And he just felt very underutilized in this game. Cyrus Allen got a little bit of action, which is good. He had a nice 8.2 per reception, which was fantastic. But again, it just seemed like we had so many of those little screenplays, so many of those just kind of like basically nothing burger plays that like you're chipping away towards the chains, but you're not actually moving them. And that seemed like what we were doing a lot of this game, and we just weren't having enough action downfield to actually move the chains, get some more first downs. And that part to me, I feel like just really stuck out. Like it felt like that was where our big struggle was. If you look in comparison, for third down efficiency, the Bearcats were 3 and 10. 3 out of 10 on third down efficiency, while Nebraska was 10 of 18. So again, that's a big point when it comes back to talking about possession, time of possession. But fourth down efficiency for 2 for 2. So like that's a great positive to take away. But if they're out first down and you 23-16, like it's just you got to keep pace. And I really feel like Nebraska's offense is not super fast. They're not like a super high tempo type of team. And with how effective the defense was on top of that, again, it's tough because you look at so many different things throughout this game and you're like, where did it go wrong? Because again, you're at the end of the first half, which I think we're going to unpack here in a second. But at the end of the first half, it's a red zone pick, not red zone pick six, but a red zone interception, which, immediately converts to a touchdown. At the end of the second half, it's an interception that keeps you from winning it. So you give up 6 in the first half that you really don't need to with seconds, less than a minute left on the clock. And in the back half, unfortunately, you throw the first really good deep ball. And unfortunately, it just drops into cover 2 and that's game. Like it's those kind of things, again, are just really frustrating because you're just one play away. If the thing in the first half doesn't happen, you might win this game. And the thing in the second half doesn't happen, you win the game. Like it's just what Cincinnati football's been lately, man.
Well, and I don't know if this makes sense, but I feel like Scott is kind of coaching for his job when you can't really be doing that. Like, and I get it, man. I mean, he's probably not going to get fired this year. Let's just put that to bed. We don't need to talk about that for a whole nother season. Let's just not think about that. But like, I felt like, and this has probably been a common theme for other fans just within these, first two seasons and first game of this season, is that the play calling is not incredibly consistent. And maybe that's kind of a product of him being the play caller while also being the head coach and trying to keep on so many things. And maybe if he were to offload that or, just figure some way out of that, then maybe it would be consistent. And we kind of saw it the other way around. If you're looking at the wide scope of college football with, for example, Mario Cristobal on Sunday night in Miami against Notre Dame, where their offense was kind of humming for the first half. And then Mario kind of did the Luke Fickell and just kind of sat on it for the second half. It seemed to be the reverse of that, where he wasn't really feeding into what was working. And then going off of that. And I'm not going to claim that I can be a better play caller, man. Like, obviously these guys are in the lab, they're doing it all the time. It just seems to be frustrating from a fan perspective when you're watching the game live, 1, and then 2, when you go back and see how well you did in one aspect. And you were hoping that maybe that could open up that passing game a little bit more than it did. So it's just a little bit frustrating. We'll talk about what they can do this week to kind of fix that and hopefully get that going forward. But it does seem like a little bit of what was plaguing the Bearcats near the end of the season last year has kind of carried over to week 1 so far from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah. And this is one thing, again, I think we're going to unpack the defense here too. But the one thing that I think that's really just shown in this game that, like you said, I think is carrying over from last year, it's a turnover margin, man. Like this is something I've been waiting to talk about, especially with you, because I think if you look at the turnover margin since we made the jump to the Big 12, it's flipped on its head, and not in a good way. And I think when you look at this, I made a mistake earlier too. I said interception in the red zone in the first half. It was a fumble. My bad. I caught myself on that. I just didn't get a chance to recover. But yes, fumble in the red zone, which led to 6. But again, you look at this game and you can microanalyze this all you want, but then look at the trend over the past few seasons. This game, you lose a fumble and you throw an interception. You lose a fumble with what was it? It was less than a minute and a half left on the clock in the first half. you're down 6-3, and then they go up 12. 12-3. So you come out of that first half and you just have 13. Jesus, 13-3. You come out of that first half and you really have like nothing to show for. Whereas if you have a 6-3 game, okay, it's 2 field goals. It's nothing really all that great. This is a 1-score game. This is easy. You can manage this, especially with how Nebraska was playing. Like, and the crazy thing to think about is Raiola was 33 of 42 and 2 touchdowns. Like, if you look at their air yards, 243 passing yards, and their main carrier had 108. Like, they were at least moving the ball pretty well. But with that said, our defense held up well. Like, they limited this team to 20 points, and they did a fantastic job of that. But all of this that we talk about, it becomes really difficult to convert into a win when you have 2 turnovers on the game, and Nebraska has 0. Nice, clean goose egg there. And that's kind of the thing that when you look at this season, we have to fix this. Like, we really desperately have to fix this problem. So as we start 2025, we're 2 down to start. 2 down to start at the beginning of the season. If you look back at 2024, the Bearcats had 18 turnovers. The opponents had 14. You look at 2023, and then you get into that one. It's 17 turnovers for the Bearcats, 13 for the opponents. So again, that's 2 years in a row of a -4 turnover margin. Let's say in this game, like Nebraska, it's 2 turnovers, and those 2 turnovers cost you the game. Realistically, it's 1 in this game. It's 1 at the end, or it's 1 at the first half. But let's say those 2 turnovers cost you a game. That's 2 games that could have been W's in both of those seasons if you just get your turnover margin flat. Like, it's those game breaker type of plays that I think have really been hurting us a lot. And then you go to the 2022 season, Bearcats had 16 turnovers, their opponents had 21. You go to the 2021, they had 19 turnovers, and their opponents had 33. Granted, that's, again, it's the Big 12 versus a American Athletic Conference schedule. It is very different, and I get that. But you got to at least be flat. Like, be flat. You don't have to be positive. You don't have to be like negative. B -1, B +1, B 0. Be more than +1. But when you get this far down in a turnover margin like this year over year, I think it's just shown that our defense is, I don't know what it is, but our defense has just not been really in a position to go out and make those game breaker type of plays. And our opponents have clearly done that. Like, think of every single game over the past 2+ years under Satterfield that we've, had thrown away because of 1 interception or 1 fumble or 1 mistimed situation. It's those types of things I think are going to continue to break our backs until we get that fixed.
Well, and then it's kind of a feed in from the offensive side too, Justin, as well, where, with that time of possession, like the two kind of feed into each other where, if Cincinnati had only had been able to hold the ball a little bit more often, then right. Maybe they're not out there all that time. And then Nebraska had 39 minutes and 30 seconds of offensive possession. Like, that's just not, it's going to wear your defense down. We saw it. They were kind of rotating Dante out for a couple of different important plays there. And, they ended up with another drive near the end of the game, but it was kind of similar to the Texas Tech game from last year where they felt like they were in the game all year. And then, it just kind of got away from it at the end. I mean, credit Jake Golday, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, shared the honors, 12 tackles, a sack. He was a guy, man. And I think I got a little bit over my skis and some of my texts of friends on Thursday night when I was talking about the 3-3-5 because it does work. And, Cincinnati's strongest point is probably our linebackers. Like, shout out to Jaquan Sanks, man. Like, that guy was making tackles and making plays out there. And you're running right into when you have 6 guys in the box, you're loading it up right for the heart of that defense, especially with Dante getting it, pressuring the quarterback by just pushing back his man, and
right.
He makes that a problem. Jalen Hunt makes that a problem. These defensive line and our linebackers can help with that. And Justin, you tweeted it out. We've got a little bit of a pass rush. We started. I think Tyson Veit, kind of saw some of that some of that work earlier in the game, so we kind of brought it a little bit more. Obviously, didn't get the turnover that we wanted. We probably could have had a pick six, on one of those balls early.
So close.
We did end up scoring on that drive, but it goes to your point, Justin, that it's part of the turnover margin. So, if you want to get granular, count turnover on downs, I'll give it to you. But credit to the defense, man. I think people from a national perspective walked away with a higher perspective of Cincinnati and a lower perspective of Nebraska, even though Nebraska won the game, just because of how the two teams looked. And it's really to speaking of that turnover battle, Justin, UC's defense gave up 13 points on just full non-turnover drives. They only gave up that touchdown at the end of the first half when the ball was on their own 25 already. So that's not they played pretty consistently all game. So I think your defense can get you to a good spot. It's just that offense has got to meet that. And so, we'll see what happens from that as we move forward. But man, credit to them, credit to Tyson. They've clearly got something worked out. So I'm excited to see where they go from here.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing I want to mention on this before we move on is when you look across this game, if you just look at kind of the drive results, speaking to the credit of our defense for Nebraska is 12 yards punt, 42 field goal, 80 field goal, 22 yards punt, and then of course that fumble at the end of the first half, 24 yards touchdown. So the only time that they really scored a touchdown is when you just gave it away to them in a fantastic position right at the end of the half. Momentum flips. But that entire first half, to basically have, at least for their scoring offense, for them to have to go 120 yards to end up with 6 points, I think is pretty good. Just 2 field goals. You're really limiting them and putting yourself in a good position. And you can't really ask much of your defense when you have a turnover in the red zone like that. That's just a really hard spot to give it up. But even so, the downs in the second half, 32 yards turnover on downs, 24 punt, 67 for a touchdown, 36 for a punt. You did a really good job of limiting them here. And I think Nebraska's defense, comparatively to what you're going to see in the Big 12, is going to be at par or maybe even above some of the other Big 12 defenses. Offenses. So as far as offensive game plan goes, and for your defense to be able to shut that down, if the Big 12 is going to be at this level for offense or maybe a little bit better, we should be in good shape. And that's a big thing. We've talked about that for, the last season and the season before. The biggest thing that this team needs to carry is that defense. I think the offense certainly can use some work here and there. But the defense really just feels like it kind of fell off a little bit from where we were throughout the Fickle era. And again, that's going up to a much higher level of play. And that's to be expected. But you got to find more ways to limit some of these Big 12 offenses. And hopefully that's the case here. And we've got a good case of that. And we've got 2 more warm-up games, two more gear-up games. I think the Fightin Pudgies would probably disagree with us. But and maybe even Scott Satterfield would disagree with us because apparently the MAC teams love to play at our level. So we'll unpack some of the stuff coming here. But any other closing points on Nebraska before we move on?
Yeah, just wanted to do just quick little metrics rundown. Nebraska's offense, funny you mentioned that, they dropped to 88th overall in SB plus after this week. So I imagine we'll be playing some better offenses, but
yeah, that's fair.
Maybe that's a credit to Cincinnati's defense. So right now, as it stands as of today, after the update, Cincinnati's up to 55th in SB plus, up 5 spots from last week. Offense is 68th, up 9 spots. Defense is 43rd, up 3 spots. Post-game win expectancy from this game, according to SB Plus, which is basically just running the box score through a bunch of different simulations and seeing what could happen in different ways. Cincinnati was 62% or 63% expected to win the game. So I think you're right, Justin. It's those turnovers. It's kind of like a linchpin to all of this. So we've got to figure that out. And then just real quick as we move on, Cincinnati now has 5 top 30 SP Plus teams remaining on their schedule. And, they're all in conference, obviously. Nebraska fell to 47th overall, which, I mean, just depending on how your viewpoint is of the season, you would have liked to get that one. It's going to be maybe a little bit tougher to get to that 6-1 without that Nebraska win. And maybe, Justin, if we can just get off on a quick side tangent before we move on to this Saturday's game against
the Falcons of Bowling Green, the Fightin Pudgies.
So let's just make a quick statement about all of the move in the game and stuff. So in hindsight, was it the best idea to move this game to Kansas City in front of a sold out 95% Nebraska crowd? Maybe not. And I saw Chad Brendel make this point about Cincinnati could not have afforded its current roster without the money from this game. Fair point. But I think you made a great point that I want you to speak to real quick, is that on Friday, and it's that if we're at the point now, and I get it, man, I know we need money. I know we're not the most high budget of all these teams, especially with the house settlement and everything, but at some point, are we really gonna just trade wins for money? And I get it, man. Kentucky, look at Kentucky, for example. They're putting more of their budget toward basketball for their house settlement fund than they are towards football. And their fans were all mad about that. Some of their fans were mad, but most of their fans were good. We want to be more successful in basketball. And maybe I have not heard anything about Cincinnati's house revenue split. And so maybe we're looking to do that. Maybe we're just trying to right now, kind of keep the water above board in football. But I feel like football is a more successful sport. Maybe we should be trying to win more instead of anyway. But I want to hear more from you, Justin. Just encapsulate, bring that point home, and then we can just not have to ever talk about that debacle ever again.
Yeah, I mean, I think just my main point here is, if you really look at the value, and again, we could see exactly what the dollar to player ratio is of what we're actually getting out of these types of games when we're getting that much money. But I understand it. I understand it completely. And who doesn't love money? Who doesn't love free money? Okay, cool. We move this game and we make a lot more money. That's great. But think about what's starting 0-1 against your schedule for this season and what you're trying to do. Think about what the value of that is versus the value of maybe adding the few players that you did. How much value, again, you're going to have to see throughout the season, but how much value does your roster get out of those additions? And maybe it's a lot. It very well could be. But this is sort of the thing where, again, we're in a weird point in time where it's okay, we're a few years now off of the college football playoff. You're a few years off of that high. Fans are, that's not carrying fans anymore. It hasn't, and it will not. It's not going to carry fans anymore. Your brain is still going to say we should be successful. But the high of winning that, or of going to the college football playoff and winning the games that you did is just completely gone. That's in the past now. And so you really have to win games in order to get fans to be behind this train that you're trying to push. And if it means that you're going to sell out your home advantage, and if it means that you're going to sell out these opportunities in order for your team to win, it might just end up costing you. That's all I'm saying. It's one of those things where I don't think you're going to necessarily lose your fans. I think they're just not going to be quite as bought in. Imagine how differently the fans of the Bearcats fans would be talking about this season and everything going forward had you just won this game. And quite honestly, with the way that this turned out, can anybody, Bearcat, I don't want to hear from any Nebraska fan, of course, but can any Bearcats fan that's listening to this tell me that if this game, the way that it went and how close this game was, if this was in Nippert, that this game would have the same result? I don't think anybody would think that we walk out of Nippert with a loss based on the way that this game played. It wouldn't happen. They had so much more momentum from fans and having that backing, packing out, Arrowhead Stadium. good on Nebraska. Like, I mean, you got to win out of this. It doesn't really hurt them. It's not like this is a weird like buy game or something. Like, you're just getting a lot of money from a neutral site here. And I think it's one of those things where, there's always the thing about like, oh, you lost the classic John Rothstein, like losing a buy game, This is like losing a sell game. Like you had everything there to win it, and then you sold off your ability to win it in order to make the money. And that just, I don't know. That to me feels like a very mid-tier, like not the level that Cincinnati thinks of itself as type of program move. Like it's just not where we're at.
And then, maybe we're not there right now. And like, maybe we need to get more money and level up. But it just seems like right now, it's kind of in a holding pattern until we get to like, the next realignment. And it seems like, well, if we if it's not going to happen now, then we got to it's just, it feels like there's more urgency to win games right now. And I completely get it. Obviously, money is going to what's going to rule it, but I can't blame any Cincinnati fan. I kind of felt like this a little bit today when I was talking to people at work about it, that like we traded. I mean, we did this at Arkansas a couple years ago. Arkansas paid us.
You're taking the words out of my mouth. Please continue.
Yeah. And like Arkansas paid us to go there a couple of years ago. Notre Dame paid us a few years ago. And maybe we're not above that just yet. Maybe we need to still keep building. It just feels weird that this was a home game that we took the check for, And so how much different would the vibe have been if, they came into your house and it was a classic Thursday night Nippert atmosphere and you got a W and, momentum's rolling. People aren't worried about week 2. Like, it's just like, and that's their decision to make. And, it's their job, honestly. So they're going to have to figure that out.
Just to put the bookend on this, like you brought up the Nebraska game, which I think is great. If you look at the 2022 season up through now, if you just pull your like marquee games from each of these seasons, you have at Nebraska, Indiana, and probably Tulane in that year. If you take your top 3 games, you beat Indiana on the road, which is a great memory. Of course, we all enjoyed that. But you lost to Nebraska, you lost to Tulane, and then you go to 2023. Your biggest games on the schedule. You have number 16 Oklahoma at home. I believe that was a Big Noon kickoff game too, if I remember correctly. And then from that, you probably have, I'd say maybe Iowa State and at Oklahoma State. At Pitt, we can give that too. But either way, you go 1-3 in those games if you include Pitt. And then you fast forward to last year. Again, your biggest games probably at Texas Tech, Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas State. Like those guys, you go 1-3 again in that stretch. So it's just like, it feels like we've had a lot of games over the past few years where it's like, okay, we could use one really big win just to get us over the hump. In 2022, we had no problem because it's the American, but last year and the year before that, you're in the Big 12. Like these preseason games, or not preseason, preseason. Yeah, it's preseason because nothing matters until you get to Big 12 play. Isn't that right, brother? Hell yeah. Anyways,
hell yeah.
If you're not playing the truck stop conference, brothers, like you have to be able to get these wins. Like, and again, like I think at this point, your value is far greater in just going bowling and showing that you're making progress than it is to have the game on the national stage. Like you have to win the game on the national stage. And again, it's just got stripped out from under you. And it's not like somebody came in and there was like a weird thing, like you did this to yourself. And so again, I feel very strongly that if this game were at Nippert, this is a completely different game. And it might even be lopsided, different direction. But I'm sure no Nebraska fan would love to hear that. I'm sure they would tell us that we were lucky that it was a 3-point game. No, you're lucky that it was a 3-point game because you very well should have lost that game. That's besides the point. I have done enough talking on this. We're done with Nebraska. We're going to wipe that slate clean and move on to the Fighting Pudgies of Bowling Green. Steve, it's week 2. it's technically a fresh slate. We're 0-0. It's a fresh week. There's nothing to worry about here. I asked one question today that we'll just quickly talk about going into this Bowling Green game, which was the weekly vibe check. So after week 1, how do you feel about the Bearcats moving forward this season? Very balanced, straight down the middle. 14% said worse than I expected. 12% said better than I expected. And 74% of y'all said the needle is unmoved. And I think that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing because everybody's level of expectation for this team is very different. But I think after this game, a lot of people probably saw that there are some holes here, but I think they also saw that there's some potential, like we talked about already, plenty with the defense making some strides and with some certain opportunities in offense. So going forward to Bowling Green, the question is, how do you apply that?
Yep. Well, and so I want to take a quick look at Bowling Green. We've obviously been mentioning the viral sensation that is Pudge the cat. He was found by the team and currently belongs to Bowling Green long snapper George Carlson, 3-year-old exotic short hair, has been brought into the locker room and become a part of the Bowling Green football team. And so was on the sideline on Thursday night against Lafayette. Bowling Green brought back the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And then, Pudge was part of like all of that. I have no idea if Cincinnati's going to let Pudge on the sidelines this upcoming week. It would be funny.
We should. Please.
I think we should feed into it. We can't be well, if you've seen Justin around college football, karma is kind of bite people in the butt right now because, I don't know if you saw the Tulane Northwestern story, but Northwestern.
Oh, yeah.
They messed with karma in New Orleans, and New Orleans by the voodoo, brother. They going no voodoo as much in Cincinnati, but that I do think that it was just kind of maybe we should just let it happen and then just play the game, just go on from there. So real quick, Justin, a blast from the past. Obviously, I mentioned in our fun intro there that Eddie George, former running back for some team that wears scarlet and another color in the middle of this state. Coaches there now. Eddie George, Titans legend. No other school, no other affiliation.
I'm listening foolhardily. Exactly what I told you before the beginning of the show just happened to me again. Right now, for a limited time only. I'm telling you, dude, these pop-ups on my freaking screen while I'm trying to look at like just sports reference are terrible. Please continue.
Yeah, you can't do sports reference. Maybe that's our next business venture, Justin, that we find something else that's not sports reference that just blasts ads into your.
Yeah, it's called get an ad blocker. That's our advertisement for today. Get a free ad blocker. Continue. Sorry.
So, an old friend from the 2021 season who we did face off against is back and is going to be facing off against Cincinnati. Justin, do you remember any of the quarterbacks we faced during that year? 1 and 2 extra points if you can name it right on the head who Bowling Green starting quarterback is. He played in probably the biggest game of that season for the Bearcats.
Played for the Bearcats?
No.
Oh, I was like, huh?
Played in.
No, can't tell you.
The man is Drew Pine, played for Notre Dame in that 2021 season as a quarterback. And he is Bowling Green's starting quarterback. So
they fell off the depth chart.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, hey, I think they played like 3 different quarterbacks that game. That was a rough one for the Fighting Irish there. Bowling Green in their last game only had 109 passing yards. They had I'm just pulling up their stats right now. 109 passing yards for the old Greenies there. And then they had this is great radio, let me tell you. 109 passing yards, 157 rushing yards, ran back that kick to start the game, but only scored 19 points the rest of the way. The Yetis of Lafayette kept it close, but a 26-7 final for Bowling Green in their home opener against the Lafayette Leopards. So, I'm not putting anything to chance here. I want to just see UC come out and just, do their thing, figure out some of those passing and running games. And hopefully it's kind of a game like Miami last year, Justin, where obviously, you respect your opponent and you come out and you want to play well. But hopefully in the end, you're able to just as the game goes on, kind of move past them, and not try to just punch them in the mouth right away. Just kind of let that happen. Kind of, I heard this one over the weekend, and I'm going to bring it to us. Put it in the slow cooker, just crock pot them a little bit. Like just run the ball, man. Like you were running for six and a half yards a pop against Nebraska. Like just start running the ball, brother. I mean, Lafayette only averaged 2 yards a rush against Bowling Green, but with this offensive line, man, I want to see them just rush the ball. I want to see how many yards Tawi Walker, Sorsby, and Evan Pryor can get. So I want to see Cincinnati establish the running game, and then when you can get into that passing game a little bit, hopefully they can work out some of that. Maybe there's some miscommunication with some of the guys. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not really an X's and O's guy, even though I used to film it. I'm not fully understanding of it, So let's just hope they can get some of that figured out, and we can move on. And hopefully, it's a good 2 weeks for Cincinnati to really get stuff figured out as they have a 2-game homestand. Obviously, respecting our opponents, but if things go well for you, this can be like the right time to be able to get things together before your next test against Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say too, like, just in addition to that, because I'm going to keep harping on this until I see it improve. It's like our free throws in basketball. Like, I'm just going to complain about one thing until it gets better, and it's been like 5 years and it never changes. Anyways, yeah, like this game, I think it's a good game to establish the run game and make sure that you've kind of worked out some of your kinks. You also have Northwestern State to do that. And quite honestly, it might actually be a little bit safer to just establish the run game here. Like you said, get some passes when you can and save some of that, like, some of those bigger air type plays for Northwestern State, where maybe, your secondary for Northwestern State is not going to be so prevalent that it's something that you really have to worry about throwing a 50-50 ball, like you see at the end of the Nebraska game where, Nebraska, they might go up and get that. A Big Ten team might go up and get that. A MAC team maybe might go up and get that, but Northwestern State ain't going to get that. I'm going to eat my voice overnight. I can just feel the clip just in my head is just ready for that one guy who's a Northwestern State fan on Twitter.
That Demons fan's coming for you, brother. I mean, Ed Orgeron went to Northwestern State, brother.
Oh, there you go.
Better watch out.
Yeah. Go Tigers. Like just improve this turnover margin. Like it's a team that you shouldn't beat them silly. It should not be a belt to ass game, but you should beat them handedly, and you should beat them comfortably, and you should not be asking any questions about the status of any aspect of your team after this game. Like, it should just be take care of business, move on, like, figure it out. But I really want to see them force some turnovers here. Like, I think they can do it. I want to see them get some interceptions. I'd love to see them force some fumbles, and just, again, do the things that you can convert in some of these other games. It's not easy by any means to knock the ball out like that. We're seeing it's not easy to go up and grab it out of the middle of the air, but it's a MAC team. Like it's not a Big Ten team. It's not a Big 12 or SEC team. It's a MAC team. Like, you should be able to do these things very, very simply in this game and just figure it out. Like, I don't want to be asking questions about this team after this game.
Do unto others as they have done unto you.
Exactly. Yeah. Take that juju from week 1. Take some of that, like, stuff that you're probably pissed off about and you wish you could get back, and apply it. Like, I mean, even Sorsby said too, like, this is a thing he said after the game, like, this is a game where, yeah, it sucks we lost, but, like, we're just going to learn from it and move on. Like, it's just is what it is. Put it behind you. Don't forget it, but put it behind you. Like, just go out there and win a game. Like, that's all you have to do, and do it convincingly. Like, we've had plenty of those cases over the years. This should be no different. And I think to not look too far ahead, but to look a little bit farther ahead. You got that Northwestern State game, of course, that we mentioned. And then after that, you have at Kansas, and Kansas is not going to be a slouch this year. Like, that's a game that you have to be ready for. So you got 2 games to work out your kinks, to figure out anything that you wanted to adjust from week 1, apply it in week 2, beat it into the back of your brain in week 3. And then hopefully, you know, maybe you can win a game on the road in Kansas. I still hate that it says versus Nebraska in the first game of the year. That is an at. Make that an at, please. It's not a neutral site. That's an at. It like, will this actually, I'm curious, will this count on SP Plus, like in all ratings and metrics as a neutral site game?
Yeah.
It's bullshit. That is such BS, dude. I hate it. I hate it so much. This game was so far from a neutral site game.
I mean, if we had played it, I mean, I guess if we had played it at Paul Brown, they could have considered it a neutral too. So, you know,
that's true.
But I agree. No, I'm with you.
It's one of those things where, like, come on, let's use our brains here a little bit. Like, let's evaluate the fan share here, and let's see what this game actually is. It's not a neutral site game. Like, there's no part about this that says neutral site.
No, sir.
And we will talk about a lot more of that during the basketball season, where it will get much worse. I'm telling you, this situation will be much worse. But we have not wiped our hands clean of that yet, Steve. We have just merely opened Pandora's box on the relocation and neutral site games.
One last thing. Wear white on Saturday.
Wear white on Saturday. That's all you got to do. And
Saturday.
Yeah, it's good. It's supposed to be like 70 degrees. It's gonna be perfect.
I got the windows open, brother. It's kind of nice. So
fall is upon us in a way that I was not expecting at all. Like, I thought it was going to be really hot for a while still.
I'm still a little skeptical. Maybe more is coming, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, what do you say we wrap this up with the Big 12 head-to-head?
Sounds good to me.
Nice and easy, yeah. Okay, so Big 12 head-to-head. Steve, have we tallied at all how we performed in week 1?
Yes, Justin, I just did. So just real quick, just a reminder on the teams. Justin, you had Arizona State, Iowa State, Colorado, and our beloved Cincinnati Bearcats. Joel had Texas Tech, TCU, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. Steve, myself, had Kansas State, Kansas, BYU, and Arizona. And then the Ghost team had Utah. Oh, man, the Ghost team might have cooked with Utah there. They look good. Baylor, UCF, and Houston. So currently, Justin, you are tied with the Ghost team with 3 wins, 2 of them coming from Iowa State, 1 of them coming from Arizona State. Joel is currently our winning percentage leader, a full 100% or 1,000%. He's got Texas Tech, TCU, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia 4-0 on this past weekend. My team's Kansas State. We went 1-1 over the first week 0 and week 1.
Almost 0-2.
Almost, brother. I was watching the last one out. Yeah, those Purple Cats, man, they were getting to me at the end. I was trying to will them to a victory. I did actually turn that on ESPN Plus, so that was fun. Kansas 2-0. Shout out to them. BYU 1-0. Arizona 1-0. So I am the wins leader right now at 5-1, and I am 2 up on the Ghost team. And real quick, Ghost team. Utah 1-0. Baylor dropped that one to Auburn on Friday night. UCF pulled one out of the fire right at the end against Jacksonville State. We were watching that one on the second screen. Houston got the shutout dub, so they start the season 1-0. So it's early. You know, I think Baylor should be okay, but UCF and Houston, that the Ghost team might kind of just be saddlebag with them. So if they got Utah, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. That team has a lot of upside and a lot of downside too. But I think the same could be said for some of the rest of us too. Cincinnati, Colorado.
Justin, real quick, should we pick there's a bunch of good Big 12 games on this weekend. Should we pick one each?
Yeah, go ahead. You start.
So I am going to start with I just mentioned those Kansas Jayhawks, and they're playing in the border war rivalry. This is actually based on a real war that was fought between Kansas and Missourians. I'm not sure. And like the great Grandpa Simpson said, I'll be cold in the I'll be in the cold ground before I recognize Missouri. And we're staying with you, Kansas, for 1 week. Go beat those Tigers. We're hoping we're with you right there. We're hoping you can pull it off. So, but man, that would be a fun one to go to. That's like a revival of an old rivalry that went away, obviously, with conference realignment, and would love to see that come back more often.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, for me, I think out of all of the games at hand, The most interesting one to me here is the Oklahoma State Oregon game.
Really?
I think, yeah. There's and for this reason
No
specifically, Cyhawk's a given. Like we're gonna mention Cyhawk because it's a given. Like it gets played every year. You know what happens, but it's not like an uncanny type of game where like you know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be cinema. Baylor SMU. You also get the vote here because that will be a good game. What is the name of that?
I don't think they have a name for that. Baylor and TCU was the rivalry, but they canceled that. And then TCU SMU is the Iron Skillet.
Baylor SMU. I'm thinking of TCU. Yeah. Okay. The Baylor SMU game will be an interesting one. But the Oklahoma State Oregon game one is interesting to me because this presents a very good opportunity for a team that is completely unexpected to win this game to go and steal something and give our conference a little more credit, because I would like to say that after week 1, the Big 12 did not do itself any favors when playing.
TCU got us. Come on.
Yes, TCU beat Bill Belichick, who was checked out after the first drive. That game was terrible television. Like, it was just not good to watch. The first drive was amazing, and I thought we were just going to have some insane game. And then after that, not worth watching at all. It literally was just TCU belt to ass whooping UNC. Like, that was terrible television. Regardless, yes, TCU did us some favors. Utah did us some favors. But this conference overall needs to get some more wins against some of these other conferences because it will matter when it comes to playoff selections. And again, we're all going to ride with the Big 12 here. We have to get some teams in there. And if you're losing to ACC teams, looking at you, Colorado, looking at us losing to the Big 10, like, if you lose these games, it's not going to do the conference any favors when it gets to the actual end of season selections. When you need your conference to get some more bids, I don't want to see one Big 12 team in here. That's terrible. We should not be doing that. I get it's a 12-team selection, but you have to beat some of these power conference teams. And when you have like a Kansas State, granted North Dakota, great team, but you have Kansas State almost losing to North Dakota, not a great look for your conference. You have Baylor getting pretty handedly dominated by Auburn at home, not a great look for your conference. Like, you just need to be able to get some of these wins on the board against some of these other conferences so that we can make sure we secure some more playoff slots. That's all that I care about as far as Big 12 play goes. But if Oklahoma State could just pull a rabbit out of the hat and beat an Oregon on the road, or just make it a game, like make it like a touchdown game, I think it would feel really good just to have that. And like I said, nobody's really expecting it, but I think Oklahoma State could be a little rowdy this year. We'll see. They didn't do anything interesting against UT Martin, that's for sure.
Have you seen the online discourse that has been going on this week for Oklahoma State and Oregon? So Mike Gundy lifted up his shirt the other day at the press conference just for fun.
Oh, I did see that.
But he was talking about how Oregon fans kind of twisted it, but he was complaining about how he doesn't have T-Boone Pickens anymore to give him all the money he wants. So he was complaining that Oregon's got a lot more money than them. And Dan Lanning took that to heart and was like, we use our money effectively. And the Oregon fans are calling for another they're playing for clicks. We're playing for W's video on Saturday. Yeah. So we'll see if that happens, but we'll see. Quick shout out also to Arizona State going on the road to Starkville to play Mississippi State. They're practicing with the fake Cowboys in the background. It's going to be a lot louder than that, brother. So hopefully you got some over the loudspeakers. West Virginia going to OU, and then in a game that I can't wait for BYU to name their number on. They're hosting Stanford. And if you didn't know, BYU does not really like Stanford very much because Stanford and Cal were kind of like blocking their entry into the Pac-12 for the longest time. So that will be fun. Also, just if you want to see a murder happen, Texas Tech is hosting Kent State. And the line, this is between two FBS teams, mind you. The current line is 48.5 points. So there might be some murder ball going on there.
There's a joke here that
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Let's move on.
No. Okay,
Let's move on.
Cool.
Move on.
Well,
UCF social
you're the
media.
one. You're the one putting the words in the air. I mean, you are the one setting it up. I'm just pointing it out.
UCF social media manager got yelled at a couple years ago for that, so I don't want to be like them. I want to be better than them.
Yes, of course. So with all that said, what is our closing remark here, Steve?
We have a Bearcat Sports Wrap-Up just real quick.
Yeah, we do.
Let's hit it. There's only a couple sports going on right now, so we can hit it and then we can roll on out of here. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1. Women's soccer, the women of Gettler have started their season with 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, with their most recent match being a draw at Bowling Green this past Sunday. In the preseason poll for the Big 12 coaches, Cincinnati was projected to finish 13th in the league, so they're hoping to fight back against that projection. The Cats will play at Pitt this Thursday night, eat shit Pitt, before they welcome NKU this upcoming Sunday for Bark in the Park at Gettler. By the way, women's soccer games are free along with many other sports on campus. So if you want to bring out your pup, maybe, blow off some steam during the Bengals game if it's going one wrong way, or if it gets out of hand early and you don't really feel like watching it anymore, bring your pup on down to Gettler Stadium and watch the Bearcats take on NKU. Women's volleyball. Cincinnati started their season in the Coach Tomich era at home with a win over Wake Forest and a loss to Michigan in the Tribute to 10 Challenge. Cincinnati was picked to finish 13th in this sport as well by preseason poll and coaches in the Big 12. The Cats will play 3 matches in the Chattanooga Classic starting Thursday against Ohio, Jacksonville State, and Alabama. So let's go wait on yonder down the Chattahoochee and get some wins in Chattanooga and bring them back up onto Cincinnati. You hear? Chattahoochee to Chattanooga. I don't even think I don't think the Chattahoochee is near Chattanooga, but anyway. The Cincinnati cross-country team dominated the top 10s of the men's and women's races to start the season on a great note. Nixon Kogi and Ann Laminshaw, both freshmen from Kenya, had the top marks in the men's and women's heats. And Lucas Town was second in the field and the top finisher under Cincinnati's team representation. So shout out to them getting started in the Red Hawk Rumble this past weekend and beating up on those Red Hawks. Good job. If we're not playing them in football, I want to beat them in something else, and we have so far. So that's great with me. And we're going to finish up with golf. Men's and women's golf will begin their respective seasons next week, with the women traveling to South Carolina and the men traveling up to Michigan. So good luck to all of the teams wearing red and black. We love you. We support you. And hopefully we'll see some fans out there. I do live in the city now. I will be out of the country for a couple weeks, soonish. But maybe you'll see me at a game at some point this fall. You never know. Maybe I'll be in the tailgate lot this Saturday. So if you have some takes that you disagree with me on, come find me. Just hit the Viva Cats Pod account. Find us. We hit 3K on the old X app, by the way. So shout out to that. And Justin, let's just get that first win out of the way this weekend, and let's keep on rolling. Let's get that offense back on track. Let's keep that defense sturdy and stout, and let's see a big old W. What do you say, brother?
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Again, thank you to all of you listening this week. We appreciate it. If you're not already, make sure to like, subscribe, check us out on YouTube, check us out on Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you're listening, please follow. And wherever you're not, please follow. We'd appreciate it. And leave a rating too while you're at it. All that said, again, we are part of the 1012 Podcast Network. So make sure to check them out and check out all the lovely podcasts surrounding everything Big 12. If you want to know about BYU playing Stanford, if you want to know about Colorado playing Delaware, we have people to do that. Go check out their podcast within the 1012 network. And as always, like Steve said, let's go get that first dub. Let's just get it out of the way. We were so close. We're right there. Let's just go beat the crap out of Pudge, just beat him up. Come on. We're going to beat the Fightin Pudgies. All right, Steve, take it easy, folks. We will talk to you next week. Viva!
The Cats, brother.
Oh, brother, yeah.